So what if I cheat? You should be grateful I even keep you in this house. Those were the arrogant, venomous words her husband spat when she confronted him about his endless affairs. He laughed at her tears, mocked her pain, and flaunted his mistress as if betrayal were his right. But what he never imagined was that her silence wasn't weakness, it was a calculation. While he boasted of his power, she was already planning her revenge. Sometimes the ones who look broken are simply waiting for the perfect moment to strike. This is the story of a wife humiliated, mocked, and betrayed until the day she decided to fight back. And today it is being retold by me. Hello, family. Welcome back. Before we begin, I have a small but heartfelt request. Please subscribe. Your support is what keeps these stories alive. Every time you click that button, you're helping us share voices that would otherwise be forgotten and stories that deserve to be heard. And in the comments, tell us where you're watching from, because together we are not just telling stories, we are keeping hope alive. Aisha Johnson had always believed marriage was sacred. She thought love meant loyalty, respect, and partnership. She thought her husband, Ironed, had believed the same. At least that's what he made her think on their wedding day when he held her hand in front of hundreds of guests and swore to love her forever. But forever had come crashing down faster than she ever imagined. On the outside, Tyrone Washington was every woman's dream. Tall, confident, a wealthy businessman with a polished smile that could light up a room. People looked at Aisha with envy, whispering, "She's lucky. She married a man who can give her the world." But behind closed doors, Tyrone's smile vanished. His words turned sharp, his eyes cold. He had a mistress, Keisha Simmons, a younger woman, bold and unapologetic. And Tyrone didn't bother to hide it. One Friday night, Aisha stood at the top of the staircase in their mansion, clutching the railing with trembling hands as Tyrone strutted through the door with Keisha on his arm. Their laughter filled the house like poison. "Tyrone," Aisha whispered, her voice breaking. "You brought her here." Keisha smirked, tossing her silky hair over her shoulder as if she owned the place. "Oh, don't look so shocked, Aisha. Everyone knows about us. You're the only one pretending this is still a marriage." Tyrone kissed Keisha's cheek, ignoring his wife's pain. "Stop acting dramatic. Keisha is my guest. She belongs here just as much as you do." Aisha's chest tightened. She wanted to scream, to throw something, to make him feel even a fraction of the humiliation burning inside her. But she didn't. She swallowed it down. That night, when the party ended and Keisha finally left, Aisha confronted him. Her tears streamed down her face, her voice trembling with hurt. "How could you do this to me? How can you humiliate me like this in my own home?" Tyrone leaned back on the couch, sipping whiskey as if her pain were nothing but entertainment. Then he spat out the words that would haunt her forever. "So what if I cheat? You should be grateful I even keep you in this house." Aisha froze. Her hands went cold. She couldn't believe the man she once trusted could cut her so deeply. Her silence only fueled his cruelty. He smirked as if proud of how broken she looked. "Don't think for a second you can leave me," Tyrone sneered. "You're nothing without me. You came from nothing, and you'll return to nothing." Remember that. Aisha turned away before he could see the rage flickering behind her tears. She had grown up poor. Yeah, she didn't have his wealth or status, but she had dignity. And though Tyrone tried to crush it, deep down, a fire was starting to burn. The next morning, Aisha woke up with a pounding headache, the kind that comes from crying yourself to sleep. She dragged herself downstairs, hoping for a quiet cup of coffee, but Tyrone was already there, scrolling through his phone with that smug grin. "Morning, babe," he said without looking up, like nothing had happened. Aisha poured her coffee, her hands shaking. "We need to talk about last night." He finally glanced at her, rolling his eyes. "What's there to talk about? Keisha's part of my life now. Deal with it." She set her mug down hard, hot liquid sloshing over the rim. "This is our home, Tyrone. Our marriage. How can you just—" He cut her off with a laugh, sharp and mocking. "Marriage? Come on, Aisha. You knew what you were getting into. I provide, you stay quiet. That's the deal." Her stomach twisted. She remembered their early days, back when he chased her with flowers and promises, calling her his queen. Now she was just convenient. "I deserve better than this," she muttered, fighting back fresh tears. Tyrone stood up, towering over her. Better? Girl, without me, you'd be back in that run-down apartment, scraping by. Be real. He grabbed his keys and headed for the door. I'm meeting Keisha for lunch. Don't wait up. The door slammed, echoing through the empty house. Aisha sank into a chair, her nails digging into her palms. The pain in her chest wasn't just heartbreak, it was fury bubbling up like lava. She paced the living room, replaying his words. Grateful? For what? Being treated like trash? No. She wiped her face, staring at her reflection in the window. Her eyes were puffy, but there was a spark there. Something new. She wasn't gonna break. Not yet. That afternoon, whispers started creeping in. Her phone buzzed with texts from friends, pitying ones. Saw Tyrone with that girl downtown. You okay? She ignored them, her mind racing. By evening, Tyrone came back alone, but the scent of Keisha's perfume clung to him like a slap. Aisha waited in the kitchen, arms crossed. We can't keep going like this. He sighed, exasperated. What do you want from me? Divorce? Fine, but you'll walk away with nothing. I made sure of that in the prenup. Her heart skipped. The prenup. She'd signed it in a haze of love, never thinking it had come to this. But instead of begging, she met his gaze. You think you're untouchable, huh? Tyrone chuckled, low and dangerous. I am. And you? You're replaceable. He brushed past her, heading upstairs. Aisha stood there, the house suddenly feeling too big, too cold. But in that moment, something shifted. The tears dried up. She clenched her fists, whispering to herself, not if I replace you first. The fire in her gut wasn't dying out. It was growing. Tyrone thought he had her cornered, but he didn't know her at all. She slipped into the study, glancing at his desk where papers lay scattered. Not yet, she thought, but soon. For now, she played the part. The hurt wife, silent and subdued. But inside, plans were forming, sharp as knives. The next morning, Loretta Washington showed up unannounced, her heels clicking like gunshots on the marble floor. Aisha was in the kitchen, nursing a second cup of coffee, her eyes still red from the night before. She heard the front door swing open, no knock because Loretta never knocked. Aisha! The older woman's voice boomed, sharp as a whip. Where's my son? Aisha straightened up, forcing a neutral expression. He's at the office, Loretta. Can I get you something? Loretta swept in, pearls clacking against her neck. Her face twisted in that permanent scowl. She eyed Aisha up and down like she was yesterday's garbage. It's been 5 years, girl. 5 years and still no baby. You know what folks are saying? That you're barren. That my boy's wasting his prime on you. Aisha's throat tightened, but she kept her cool, stirring sugar into her mug. Some things take time. It's not always that simple. Loretta snorted, slamming her purse on the counter. Excuses. Always excuses with you. Tyrone needs an heir, someone to carry on the Washington name. Not some charity case from the projects who can't even do the basics. The words hit like a punch to the gut. Aisha gripped the spoon harder, her knuckles whitening. She remembered her roots, growing up in a cramped apartment, working 2 jobs to put herself through community college. But she'd built something with Tyrone, or so she thought. I've given this marriage everything, she said softly, meeting Loretta's glare. Loyalty, support. Loretta cut her off with a harsh laugh. Support. Honey, that's what maids are for. Tyrone deserves a real woman from a good family. Someone like Keisha, young, vibrant, ready to give him kids. Aisha's blood boiled, but she bit her tongue, watching Loretta pace like she owned the place, which in her mind she did. You should divorce her, Tyrone, Loretta muttered to herself as if practicing. Don't let this dead weight drag you down. Just then, Tyrone walked in, adjusting his tie, fresh from a meeting. He caught the tail end and smirked. Mom, ease up. Aisha knows her place. Loretta spun on him, eyes blazing. Her place? Boy, you've been too soft. 5 years, no grandkids. I raised you better than this. Aisha excused herself, slipping upstairs before the tears could fall. She collapsed on the bed, muffling sobs into the pillow. But even through the pain, her mind sharpened. She wasn't just hurting, she was noticing things. Days blurred into a haze of isolation. Aisha's phone stopped buzzing with invites from friends. They used to hit up brunches, gossip over mimosas, but now, crickets. One afternoon, she ran into her old pal Tanya at the grocery store. Tanya's eyes darted away, awkward as hell. "Hey, girl, heard about Tyrone and that side piece? You holding up?" Aisha forced a smile, grabbing a carton of milk. "I'm fine, really." Tanya shifted, glancing at her cart. "We should catch up sometime. But, things are busy." "Yeah, right." Aisha nodded, pushing her cart away, the rejection stinging like salt in a wound. Back home, she scrolled through social media, seeing posts from mutual friends, parties, vacations, all without her. Whispers at church followed her like shadows. "That's Tyrone Washington's wife. Poor thing, he doesn't even hide it." She sat in the pew, head bowed, feeling eyes boring into her back. Pity wrapped around her like a chokehold. But Aisha didn't lash out. She observed. Noticed Tyrone's late-night calls, the way he'd sneak glances at his phone during dinner. Keisha smirked when she dropped by, leaving lipstick stains on glasses. One evening, Loretta crashed dinner again, uninvited as usual. She plopped down at the table, criticizing Aisha's cooking right off the bat. "This chicken's dry as a bone. No wonder Tyrone's out looking for flavor elsewhere." Tyrone chuckled, cutting into his steak. "Mom's got a point." Aisha served herself quietly, her fork scraping the plate. "I've been trying new recipes." Loretta rolled her eyes. "Trying ain't doing. Keisha, now that girl can cook. Saw her posts on Insta. Wholesome, family-oriented. Exactly what you need, son." Aisha's chest burned, but she kept eating, eyes on her plate. Inside, she cataloged every detail. Tyrone's hidden drawer in the bathroom, stocked with cologne and that little bottle he thought she didn't know about. Keisha's habit of leaving her earrings behind is like marking territory. Loretta kept yapping. "Divorce her, Tyrone, before she embarrasses the family more. No kids, no class. Just a leech." Tyrone nodded vaguely, sipping his wine. "I'm handling it, Mom." Aisha cleared the plates, her hands steady despite the rage simmering. In the kitchen, alone, she rinsed dishes, whispering to herself, "Leech, we'll see who's sucking who dry." She dried her hands, glancing at Tyrone's jacket slung over a chair. A receipt peeked out. Hotel charges not in his name. She snapped a quick photo with her phone, tucking it away. Not yet, but soon. The isolation deepened. Even at the gym, folks avoided her. Her trainer, Mike, pulled her aside one day. "Heard some stuff, if you need to talk." Aisha shook her head, pounding the treadmill harder. "I'm good." But she wasn't. The world saw her as the pathetic wife, the one who couldn't keep her man. Whispers turned to stares, pity to judgment. Yet through it all, Aisha stayed quiet, her eyes sharp as daggers. Loretta's visits ramped up, each one a fresh assault. One Sunday afternoon, she barged in while Aisha was folding laundry. "Still no bump on that belly? Tick-tock, girl." Aisha folded a shirt neatly, stacking it high. "We're not rushing," Loretta huffed, crossing her arms. "Rushing? It's been forever. My son's a king. Needs a queen who can breed. Keisha's ready, willing. I've told him. Cut the dead wood." Aisha's nails dug into the fabric, but she smiled faintly. "Thanks for the advice." Loretta narrowed her eyes, sensing something off, but shrugged it off. "You'll be out soon enough. Mark my words." As Loretta left, Aisha watched from the window, her mind racing. She spotted Tyrone's car pulling up. Keisha in the passenger seat laughing. Another guest. But now Aisha saw opportunities. Sloppy habits, unlocked phones, forgotten emails. The fire in her wasn't just anger anymore. It was fuel. She slipped into Tyrone's office later, when he was distracted downstairs. Drawers unlocked, papers scattered. She rifled through quickly, noting account numbers, secret withdrawals, snapped pics, hid her phone. Her heart pounded, not with fear, but purpose. They thought she was weak, isolated, done. But in the silence, she was arming up. Tyrone's arrogance cranked up a notch, like he smelled blood in the water. He started bringing Keisha home more often, not even pretending anymore. One evening, Aisha came back from the store, arms loaded with groceries, only to find them lounging in the living room, Keisha's legs draped over Tyrone's lap. Their giggles hit her like a gut punch. "What's for dinner, babe?" Tyrone called out, not bothering to move. Aisha dropped the bags on the counter, her jaw clenching. Roast chicken, your favorite. Keisha stretched like a cat, smirking. Ooh, sounds basic. Tyrone, baby, why don't we order in? Something spicy. Tyrone chuckled, pulling Keisha closer. Yeah, Aisha, spice it up. Keisha's right. You're getting predictable. Aisha's hands shook as she unpacked, but she kept her voice even. This is my home, too. Keisha laughed, tossing her hair. Your home? Girl, please. Tyrone's the one paying the bills. You're just decoration. Tyrone high-fived her, eyes gleaming with cruelty. Damn straight. Learn from her, Aisha. She's got fire. Aisha bit her lip, tasting blood, but she plated the food anyway, serving them first. As they ate, Tyrone fed Keisha bites, ignoring Aisha completely. Her fork scraped the plate, each sound amplifying the knot in her stomach. Loretta kept piling on, showing up like clockwork. The next day, she stormed in during lunch, spotting Keisha at the table. Well, look at this. Finally some class in the house. She hugged Keisha like a long-lost daughter, then turned to Aisha with a sneer. You cooking again? No wonder my boy's straying. Aisha stirred the pot, steam rising in her face. It's just soup. Loretta huffed. Soup? Keisha, honey, you gotta teach her. A real woman knows how to keep her man fed and happy. Keisha grinned, leaning into Tyrone. I'd love to, Miss Loretta, but some folks are beyond help. Tyrone nodded, mouth full. Mom's spot on. Aisha, you're slacking. The words sliced deep, but Aisha dished out bowls, her smile brittle as glass. Inside, her mind raced, mapping their routines, noting how Tyrone left his laptop open, emails glowing with secrets. But she pushed it down, playing the part. The humiliation escalated at a corporate dinner that weekend. Tyrone dragged Aisha along for show, but Keisha tagged in, bold as brass. At the table, surrounded by suits and ties, Tyrone introduced Keisha as his business associate, winking like it was a joke. Whispers rippled through the crowd. Aisha sat rigid, forcing laughs at bad jokes, her wine glass trembling. One exec leaned in. You two make a great team. Tyrone slapped Keisha's thigh under the table. We do, don't we? Back home, the knife twisted deeper. Tyrone cornered Aisha in the kitchen. You embarrassed me tonight, all quiet and mopey. She spun on him. Embarrassed you? You're the one parading her around. He grabbed her arm, eyes cold. Watch your tone. Keisha's the future. You're the past. Aisha yanked free, heart hammering. This is cruel, he smirked. Cruel? Nah, real. You're lucky I keep you around. Most guys would have bounced you back to the hood. Keisha sauntered in, overhearing. Why not ditch her already? She's dragging you down. Tyrone poured drinks, handing one to Keisha. Soon. But for now, she stays, keeps up appearances. Aisha stormed upstairs, slamming the door, her breath coming in ragged gasps. She paced, nails digging into her palms. They thought they had her beat, but the fire flickered brighter. Loretta amped it up with another visit, this time with advice. She cornered Aisha in the garden, where Aisha was clipping roses to clear her head. You hear me? 5 years, no kids. You're a failure. Aisha snipped a thorn, pricking her finger. Blood welled up. Not everything's in our control, Loretta scoffed. Control? My son needs heirs. Keisha's fertile, ready. I've told him. Marry her, build a real family. Aisha's grip tightened on the shears. I've stood by him through everything. Loretta stepped closer, voice dripping venom. Stood by? You're a burden, ungrateful, low-class trash. The insult landed hard, but Aisha met her eyes. Maybe the problem's not me. Loretta's face purpled. How dare you? My boy's perfect. You'll be out on your ass soon. She stormed off, leaving Aisha rooted, thorns digging in. That night, the cruelty peaked. Aisha prepared dinner again, passed with all the fixings, clinging to some shred of normalcy. Tyrone walked in with Keisha, arm around her waist, kissing her right there in the doorway. Aisha's knife slipped, nicking her thumb. Tyrone, please, not here. Keisha leaned on the counter, smirking. Why not? You've had your shot. My turn now. Tyrone poured wine. For Keisha, not Aisha. See? She's got guts. That's what I need. Aisha's vision blurred, but she stood tall. You're heartless. Tyrone's grin widened. Heartless? Honest. Without me, you're nothing. Keisha traced his collar. Dump her, baby. She's dead weight. Aisha's eyes flashed. Steal a husband, and you'll never rest easy. Keisha faltered for a second, but Tyrone slammed his glass down. Enough. Go upstairs if you can't hack it. Aisha retreated, but her steps were steady. Later, as she passed Tyrone's office, voices leaked out. Low, conspiratorial. She froze, ear to the door. Tyrone muttered, She's a liability now. The public still buys the perfect couple BS. Divorce straight up? Thanks, my rep. Loretta's tone was icy, plotting. Then wreck her. Fake a scandal. Say she's cheating, hooked on pills. Ruin her name, and folks'll cheer when you boot her. Aisha's blood turned to ice. Her hand covered her mouth to stifle a gasp. Tyrone sighed. Yeah, something humiliating. Once she's trash, she leaves quietly, and I marry Keisha clean. Loretta chuckled. I'll help. Dealt with her type before. She won't see it coming. Aisha backed away, knees wobbling, but she didn't crumble. She slipped into her room, locking the door. Tears streamed, but a calm settled in. Her husband and mother-in-law are scheming to not just dump her, but demolish her, strip her dignity, her name. But in the darkness, she wiped her face, whispering, If they want a scandal, they'll get one. On my terms. The pain wasn't breaking her anymore. It was forging her. Aisha's heart shattered into a million pieces that night, the weight of their plot crushing her like a ton of bricks. But instead of crumbling into sobs, she sat on the edge of the bed, staring at the wall, her breath coming slow and deliberate. She wiped away the last tear with the back of her hand, feeling a switch flip inside her. No more crying, no more begging. This wasn't the end. It was the spark. They want to ruin me? She whispered to the empty room, her voice steady for the first time in months. Fine, but I'll bury them first. She paced the room, mind racing like a freight train. Tyrone and Loretta thought they were slick, scheming behind closed doors. But she'd heard every word. The fake scandal, the smears about cheating or drugs. It lit a fire in her gut, turning pain into pure, calculated fury. She grabbed her phone, scrolling through the photos she'd already snapped. Hotel receipts, cryptic texts. It wasn't enough. She needed ammo that would blow their world apart. The next morning, Aisha woke before dawn, slipping downstairs while the house slept. Tyrone's snores echoed from the master bedroom, his and Keisha's playground now. She crept into his office, the door creaking just enough to make her freeze. Heart pounding, she eased it shut and flicked on her phone's flashlight. His desk was a mess of papers, just like always. Arrogant fool never locked anything up. She rifled through drawers, finding bank statements with weird transfers, big chunks to offshore accounts. Gotcha, she muttered, snapping pics of every page, her fingers flying. One statement jumped out. Monthly wires to a Cayman Islands account, labeled consulting fees. Bull. She cross-checked with a quick glance at his calendar. Dates matched up with meetings he had with Keisha. This wasn't just cheating, it was shady business. Maybe even tax dodging or worse. Aisha's pulse quickened as she emailed copies to a burner account she'd set up weeks ago. No traces back to her. She tucked everything back exactly as found and slipped out, adrenaline buzzing like caffeine. Later that day, Keisha dropped by unannounced, strutting in like she paid the mortgage. Aisha was in the kitchen, chopping veggies, knife steady in her grip. Keisha leaned on the island, popping gum. Tyrone around? We got plans. Aisha didn't look up, slicing carrots with precise thwacks. He's out, but feel free to wait. Keisha eyed her suspiciously. You're awfully chill today. Finally get it through your head? Aisha met her gaze, forcing a faint smile. Yeah, I get it. Keisha laughed, but it sounded forced. Good, 'cause soon this'll be my spot. She wandered off to the living room, leaving her purse unzipped on the counter. Aisha's eyes darted to it, a phone peeking out, screen unlocked. Opportunity. She glanced over her shoulder, then, as quick as a flash, pulled it out. Text from Tyrone. Can't wait to ditch the dead weight. Money's moving. Our fresh start. Attached. Account details, the same offshore ones. Aisha forwarded them to her burner, deleted the sent message, and slid the phone back. Her hands didn't shake. This was power. That evening, Tyrone came home reeking of cologne and lies. He tossed his keys on the table, spotting Aisha reading on the couch. "No drama tonight," he sneered, pouring a drink. Aisha closed her book, voice calm. "None from me." He raised an eyebrow, sipping bourbon. "About time you learned." But his guard was down. He left his laptop on the coffee table, logged in. Aisha waited until he hit the shower, then pounced. Emails flooded the screen. Deals with shady partners, under-the-table payments skirting regulations. One chain to Keisha. "Funds secure. We'll bounce soon. New life, just us." Attachments showed wire confirmations, sums that made Aisha's eyes widen. She downloaded everything to a hidden drive on her phone, covering her tracks by clearing the browser history. Her mind whirred. This could tank his business empire, expose fraud. But she needed more. Something personal to twist the knife. The weekend brought Loretta over for family dinner, her code for more digs. She arrived with a casserole, thrusting it at Aisha. "Figured you needed help in the kitchen." Aisha took it without a word, setting the table. Tyrone and Keisha joined, the air thick with tension. Loretta wasted no time. "Still no baby bum? Tick-tock." Aisha served plates, her smile plastered on. "God's timing," Loretta scoffed. "God's or yours? Keisha here, now she's built for family." Keisha preened, rubbing Tyrone's arm. "Miss Loretta, you're too kind." Tyrone grinned. "Mom knows best." Aisha sat quietly, but her eyes scanned. Loretta's phone buzzing on the side table. Passcode she'd glimpsed before. 1234, lazy as hell. When they laughed at some inside joke, Aisha excused herself to check the oven, swiping the phone on the way. Voicemails from Tyrone. "Mom, the plan's set. Fake the dirt on Aisha. Make it stick." She recorded it, sent it to her burner, and replaced the phone. Evidence stacking like bricks. Nights blurred into covert ops. Aisha tailed Tyrone once, parking down the street from a hotel, snapping pics of him and Keisha slipping in arm. Grainy but damning. She hacked his cloud storage, password his birthday, idiot, finding folders of receipts, luxury gifts for Keisha, charged to business accounts. Embezzlement? Close enough. She compiled it all in encrypted files hidden deep on her device. One close call. Tyrone caught her in his office late at night. "What the hell are you doing?" he barked, eyes narrowing. Aisha held up a pen. "Looking for this. Couldn't sleep." He bought it, grumbling. "Stay out of my stuff." But the scare sharpened her. She started varying her routine, grabbing intel in snippets. A forgotten wallet here, an open safe there. The offshore details fleshed out. Transfers totaling hundreds of thousands funneled to Keisha's name. This wasn't love. It was a getaway plan, leaving Aisha penniless and smeared. As the evidence piled up, Aisha's resolve hardened like steel. She lay awake staring at the ceiling, replaying their cruelties. No more victim. She was the hunter now. "They think I'm done," she whispered, a smirk creeping in. "But I've just started." The pain fueled her, turning whispers of doubt into roars of strategy. She had the proof, the affairs, the fraud, the plot against her, all tucked away, waiting for the perfect strike. Aisha flipped the script overnight, turning her rage into a mask of surrender. No more fights, no more glares, just quiet compliance that threw everyone off balance. She started small, testing the waters. The morning after her latest evidence haul, Tyrone stumbled downstairs, hungover and grouchy. "Coffee!" he barked, slumping at the table. Aisha poured it black, just how he liked, without a word. He eyed her suspiciously. "No attitude today." She shrugged, stirring her own mug. "What's the point? You're gonna do what you do." He smirked, sipping slowly. "Smart girl. Finally getting it." Inside, Aisha's mind whirred like a machine, but her face stayed blank. Keisha texted him right then, the ping echoing. He glanced at the screen, grinning. "She's coming over." Aisha nodded, grabbing her keys. "Cool. I'll run errands." No protest, no tears. Tyrone relaxed, shoulders dropping. Hook set. Keisha arrived an hour later, strutting in with shopping bags. She spotted Aisha folding laundry in the living room and paused, expecting fireworks. "You still here?" Aisha looked up, forcing a polite smile that didn't reach her eyes. "Yeah, need help with those?" Keisha blinked, caught off guard. No. Tyrone around." Aisha pointed upstairs. "In the shower." Keisha huffed off, but Aisha caught the unease in her step. Good. Let them think she'd cracked. Loretta hit the scene that afternoon, barging in with her usual storm. "Where's my son?" she demanded, spotting Aisha in the kitchen. Aisha wiped her hands on a towel. "Upstairs with Keisha." Loretta's eyes narrowed. "And you're just okay with that?" Aisha met her gaze evenly. "Fighting didn't work. So yeah." Loretta snorted, but there was a flicker of confusion. "About time you knew your place." She launched into her routine digs. "Still no kids." "Figures. Keisha's the upgrade." Aisha nodded faintly. "You're right." The words tasted like acid, but Loretta ate it up, her barbs losing steam without resistance. Tyrone came down, towel around his neck, Keisha trailing. He caught the tail end and grinned widely. "See? She's learning." Loretta patted his arm. "Took long enough." Aisha excused herself to the garden, but not before noting Tyrone's phone was left charging on the counter, unlocked as usual. His carelessness ramped up with her surrender. She slipped back in later when they were distracted, laughing in the den. Quick scroll, more emails about shady deals, a new wire to Keisha's account, snapped, sent to burner, cleared history. Her collection grew. Fraud docs, affair pics, plot voicemails. Ammo locked and loaded. Days melted into a routine of fake peace. Tyrone brought Keisha home almost every night, flaunting her like a trophy. One evening they crashed on the couch for a movie, Keisha's head in his lap. Aisha walked in with popcorn. "Want some?" Tyrone raised a brow. "No lecture?" She sat in the armchair, munching quietly. "Nah, enjoy." Keisha shifted uncomfortably. "This is weird." Tyrone shushed her. "It's progress." But his guard dropped further. He left his wallet on the table, cards peeking out. Aisha waited till they dozed off, then photographed the black card statements. Charges for Keisha's spa days, billed as business expenses. Another nail in the coffin. Loretta kept testing, dropping by with gifts for Keisha, jewelry, clothes. "This'd look better on her," she'd say, dangling earrings at Aisha. Aisha took them without flinching. "Give them to her then." Loretta's smugness swelled. "You're finally broken, huh?" Aisha smiled thinly. "Guess so." But while Loretta yapped, Aisha eyed her purse, left open on the chair. Inside, a notebook with scribbled notes, dates for the scandal setup, contacts for fake witnesses. Aisha snapped pics during a bathroom break, heart racing but hands steady. The old woman's arrogance made her sloppy. Tyrone's habits exposed more cracks. He started leaving his laptop in the living room after late-night work, password unchanged. Aisha struck at 2 a.m. when snores filled the house. New folders, tax evasion schemes, insider trading hints. Emails to investors promising returns on ghost projects. Funds siphoned to offshore havens. She downloaded chunks, piecing together a timeline that screamed fraud. "You're going down," she whispered, logging out. Her files bulged, enough to sink his empire, expose the affair, and flip their plot back on them. Keisha grew bolder, marking territory. She left clothes in the laundry, perfume on pillows. One afternoon, she confronted Aisha in the hallway. "Why the sudden chill? Planning something?" Aisha tilted her head, innocent as pie. "Nope, just accepting reality." Keisha's eyes searched her face, uneasy. "Good, 'cause Tyrone's mine now." Aisha nodded. "I know." But as Keisha walked away, Aisha spotted her phone on the dresser. Text from Tyrone. "Money's ready. We'll jet soon." Forwarded, deleted, the getaway fund details completed her puzzle. Loretta's final jab came over Sunday brunch. She arrived with bagels, slamming them down. "Keisha's cooking next time. Yours sucks." Aisha buttered one calmly. "Sounds great." Tyrone joined, chuckling. "Mom, she's tame now." Loretta poked Aisha's arm. "No fight left?" "Pathetic." Aisha swallowed the bite, meeting her eyes. "What can I say? You win. The room fell quiet, their victory tasting off. But Aisha's mind hummed. She just glimpsed Loretta's calendar on her phone, left face up. A meeting with a PI to dig dirt on her. Noted, photographed later. As weeks ticked by, Tyrone's self-satisfaction ballooned. He paraded Keisha at events, barely hiding it. "You're being so good," he told Aisha one night, patting her head like a dog. She forced a nod. "Whatever makes you happy." Inside, victory thrummed. Their complacency handed her gold. Unlocked safes with hidden contracts, overheard calls about bribes. She cataloged it all, her dossier airtight. The mask held, but beneath it, she was a loaded gun, cocked and ready. The night finally came, heavy with anticipation that Aisha could taste like metal on her tongue. She'd waited weeks playing the broken wife, but now her mask cracked just enough for a sly grin in the mirror. Tyrone's habits were clockwork. Saturday nights meant alone time with Keisha, him stocking up on whiskey and that little bottle in the bathroom drawer. Aisha slipped in while he was downstairs pouring drinks, her footsteps silent on the tile. She pulled out the drawer, heart thumping steadily, not frantic. There it sat, the lube bottle, innocent looking. She unscrewed the cap, dumped the contents down the sink, and refilled it with the industrial superglue she'd bought online. Clear, odorless, hell on skin. Cap back on, wiped clean, back in place. She caught her reflection. Eyes sharp, no victim here. "Showtime," she whispered, slipping out. Downstairs, Tyrone and Keisha were already buzzing, laughter echoing off the walls. Aisha poked her head in the den. "Heading to bed early. You two have fun." Tyrone barely glanced up, arm around Keisha. "Yeah, whatever," Keisha smirked, raising her glass. "Night-night." Aisha climbed the stairs, but instead of her room, she hunkered in the hallway shadows, phone in hand, ears perked. The trap was set. Now she waited for the snap. It didn't take long. Footsteps thumped up the stairs, giggles turning to whispers. The bedroom door clicked shut. Aisha crept closer, pressing against the wall. At first, the usual sounds, moans, bed creaking, low talk. Then chaos erupted. Keisha's shriek pierced the air. "Tyrone, what the? I can't move. Oh God, we're stuck." Tyrone's voice cracked, panic raw. "What? Hold still. Damn, it burns. We're glued together. Jesus." Aisha bit her lip to stifle a laugh, the satisfaction flooding her like a high. Keisha thrashed, screaming louder. "Get off me! Do something! It's like cement!" Tyrone cursed, fumbling for his phone. "Don't move! You'll tear skin! 911, somebody help!" Aisha backed away quietly, slipping into the guest room. She pulled out her burner phone, texting a neighbor she'd primed weeks ago. "Heard screams from next door. Call the cops?" Then a quick message to a freelance reporter she'd fed tips to anonymously. "Big scandal at Washington Mansion. Cheating hubby in trouble. Get here fast." Sirens wailed in the distance within minutes, red and blue lights flashing through the windows like a disco from hell. Aisha peered out, watching the circus unfold. Firefighters burst through the front door, paramedics on their heels, radios crackling. Neighbors clustered on lawns, phones out, recording every second. "What's going on?" one yelled. Aisha stayed hidden, but she heard the boots stomping upstairs, the door kicking open. Inside the bedroom, the scene was pure mayhem. Tyrone and Keisha, half naked and fused in the most humiliating position, face twisted in horror. "Help us!" Keisha sobbed, tears smearing her makeup. A firefighter stifled a chuckle, pulling on gloves. "Ma'am, sir, hold still. This glue's industrial grade. We'll need solvents." Paramedics muttered, shaking heads. "Never seen this before. Like super glue on steroids." Tyrone groaned, sweat pouring. "Just get us apart, hurry." The extraction was a nightmare. They tried oils, then medical-grade removers, but the glue held like a vice. Keisha wailed as they worked, skin pulling. "It burns, oh God, my reputation." Tyrone hissed through gritted teeth. "Shut up. Cameras outside." Too late. Reporters swarmed the driveway, flashes popping. "Mr. Washington, what's happening? Affair gone wrong?" One shouted. Neighbors live-streamed. Hashtags already trending. Chas glued gate. Chas cheater stuck. Aisha watched from an upstairs window, her phone buzzing with notifications. Social media exploded. Videos of firefighters hauling the pair out on a stretcher, sheets barely covering the mess. Billionaire Tyrone Washington glued to mistress in freak accident. Comments poured in. Karma's a bitch. Wife's revenge? Aisha's lips curled. She hadn't leaked the evidence yet, and that was for later. For now, the humiliation was enough, raw and viral. Paramedics loaded them into the ambulance. Keisha begging for privacy. Tyrone barking orders that fell flat. Cover us up, he yelled, but phones captured every angle. The crowd jeered, laughter mixing with sirens. Serves you right, player, someone hollered. Aisha closed the curtains, her breath even, a genuine smile breaking through. The mighty Tyrone Washington, reduced to a meme, was airite out like a fool. Keisha, the bold homewrecker, was reduced to tears and shame. As the ambulance peeled away, Aisha sat on the bed, scrolling through the feeds. Posts racked up likes by the thousands, shares spreading like wildfire. This is gold, one tweet read. Hubby thought he was slick. Now he's stuck. She powered down the burner, tucking it away. The night air hummed with chaos outside, but in here, peace settled. They'd underestimated her, and now the world watched their fall. The trap had sprung, perfect and poetic. The morning after exploded like a bomb, social media still buzzing with videos of Tyrone and Keisha's glued-up nightmare. Aisha sipped coffee in the kitchen, scrolling headlines on her phone. Tycoon Tyrone Washington, humiliated in bizarre bedroom blunder. Comments roasted them alive. Karma glued his cheating ass. She set her mug down, fingers hovering over her burner app. Time to drop the hammer. She uploaded her dossier anonymously to major tabloids and bloggers, emails of fraud, affair pics, voicemails plotting her smear. Let the games begin, she muttered, hitting send. By noon, the floodgates burst. Reporters swarmed the mansion gates, microphones thrusting. Mrs. Washington, comment on the scandal? Aisha peeked through the curtains, face blank, saying, zip. But her leaks hit like lightning. Headlines screamed, Washington Empire crumbles, fraud, affairs exposed. Investors bailed first. Phone calls poured in. Tyrone's office line blowing up. We're out, one barked over speakerphone, Aisha eavesdropping from the hall. Tyrone paced his study, face ashen, yelling into his cell. It's lies, fake news. Keisha ghosted fast, her socials going dark amid the hate storm. Texts from trolls flooded her. Homewrecker got stuck, literally. She vanished, probably holing up in some motel, bad-mouthing Tyrone to whoever listened. Aisha imagined her packing bags, mascara running, ego shattered. Bye, bitch, Aisha whispered, a smirk tugging her lips. Loretta tried damage control, storming in mid-afternoon, pearls clutched like a lifeline. This is your fault, she hissed at Aisha, who lounged on the couch, feigning shock. My boy's ruined. Aisha met her glare coolly. Is he? Loretta whipped out her phone, dialing contacts. I'll fix this. Call in favors. But calls went to voicemail, old allies ducking. One picked up. Loretta, we're done associating. Your son's toxic. She slammed the phone down, face crumpling. Society's darling, now a pariah, whispers at her club, turning to outright snubs. Used to kiss her ass, now she's trash, Aisha overheard on a leaked audio from a gossip site. Tyrone's business tanked overnight. Stock prices nosedived, screens flashing red in boardrooms. Clients yanked contracts. Can't risk the stink. Federal probes kicked off. IRS agents sniffing the offshore trails Aisha's leaks highlighted. Tyrone huddled with lawyers in the den, papers scattering. How'd they get this? He roared, slamming fists. Internal leak? His eyes darted to Aisha as she brought water, innocent as hell. Need anything else? He waved her off, paranoia creeping in. But too late. The empire he'd built on charm and scams crumbled like a house of cards. Aisha watched it all unfold from the sidelines, her phone pinging updates. Tabloids ate up the dirt. Washington's double life. Embezzlement funds, mistress getaway. Pics of hotel trysts splashed everywhere. Voicemails playing on podcasts. Public outrage boiled. Hashtags like "Rah, down with Tyrone" trending. Former fans turned vicious. Lock him up. Tyrone's polished image was battered, replaced by memes of his fiasco. He aged 10 years in a day, bags under eyes, barking at empty rooms. Keisha surfaced briefly in a trashy interview, throwing Tyrone under the bus. He promised the world. Now look. But backlash hit her harder. Job offers drying up. Friends bailing. She slunk away for good, tail between legs. Loretta faced the music at a charity event that night. Uninvited, she showed anyway. Whispers followed. That's the mom who plotted against the wife. She left early, head down, society's cold shoulders stinging worse than slaps. Aisha filed for divorce quietly the next week, papers served by a no-nonsense lawyer she'd hired on the sly. Tyrone signed in a haze, too buried in lawsuits to fight. She walked away with half the house's accounts and enough to start fresh. No scenes, no gloating. She packed a single suitcase, leaving the mansion's ghost behind. Keep it, she told him over her shoulder, his pleas falling flat. It suits your mess. Stepping into her new apartment downtown, Aisha unpacked, sunlight streaming in. No more shadows, no more pity stares. She landed a job at a nonprofit, empowering women like her. Strong, black, unbreakable. Friends trickled back, real ones who'd waited out the storm. You did it, girl, one texted. Aisha smiled at her reflection, fierce and free. The pain had forged her, turning victim into victor. Tyrone's empire lay in ruins, probes closing in, freedom slipping. But Aisha, she thrived, nailing that quiet win with every step forward. And that's the story of Aisha Johnson, a woman who turned betrayal into unbreakable strength. It reminds us that arrogance and deceit might seem powerful in the moment, but true justice comes from patience, quiet resolve, and the courage to reclaim your worth. In the end, it's not about revenge. It's about rising above the pain and stepping into your own light. What about you? Have you ever faced a deep betrayal that ultimately made you stronger or reshaped how you see trust and resilience? Drop your thoughts in the comments. I'd love to hear your stories and keep this conversation going. Stick around for our next video, where we'll uncover another inspiring tale of empowerment and unexpected twists that prove no one is truly powerless. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for watching, subscribing, and being part of this journey with us. Until next time, take care and keep shining.